world for a long time, and this is where we have a technology that's great at what it does for a time period it was invented for. Application firewalls are still extremely important. You want to be able to prevent and mitigate that low-hanging fruit attack traffic, right? We're talking the stuff we've heard of now for decades, right? SQL injection, cross-site script, local file inclusion, all of those acronyms that WAFs were developed to prevent. That stuff still exists. It can still impact your APIs, and that's what a WAF does, right? It takes that dirty internet traffic and keeps it out of your applications. For APIs, however, those attacks are not nearly as critical to prevent. The attacks at API attacks that the traditional web application space in times gone by, right? So now we're looking at things around object level authorization, right? Broken object level authorization. We're looking at broken authentication, excessive data exposure, a complete differential. I mean, it's a complete definition change of rate limiting and how that works in APIs. All those attacks take different methodology and different solutions to identify and protect that WAFs are not meant to handle. Simply to provide a central location to manage that authentication and authorization of your users. There's way too many times they're misconfigured and they're not handling that authentication correctly. One of the big reasons for that is because you have a team, an infrastructure team that manages the gateway, and then you have a developer team that develops the API. And they don't talk. And so the gateway's doing its thing over here, the developer's doing his thing over here. He's implemented an API that works. Because they don't talk, it gets misconfigured. I've seen this happen way too many times. Just way too many times. You think a simple conversation can fix it, but it's like, well, is that easy to already be done? We get onto that topic here in two more slides. So that's where we're at here with WAFs and gateways. Truly, the traditional tools of the world today fail to business logic attacks. Like, there's one sentence you take away from this. That's really what it is. Business logic attacks go undetected by the tools, by the traditional application security tools. And those are the type of attacks in API space. The next one here, so this is where we get into some of those cloud native application protection acronyms that seem to always come up. There's a lot of those today. So you have cloud, anything with posture management in, cloud security posture management, cloud native applications. All of that really blurs the lines as to what type of tool you need to secure those workloads. Okay? So today, our architectures are Kubernetes, Docker containers. That's where those applications run. That's how we are expanding our application development footprint. And there's different types of vulnerabilities then that those microservice architectures face, as opposed to the true applications that are running in those architectures. And so there's a difference here. The service that's running my application, and then the actual traffic that application processes. Okay, good. Yeah, cover that one. So last one here. Developers will build in API security. Okay? This is a false sense of security. All right? We cannot expect this shift left to take place. You cannot shift far enough left to get ahead of all application coding problems or bugs that will sneak into your pipeline. You just can't do it. I've seen this talked about for like 18, 20 years, right? This is not some new statement. We're going to shift left. We're going to fix our code. We're going to create some better detection and new automation. that's going to do this. I have yet to see anybody take that approach and be successful. That's my overall summation. When you shift left, you still have to shield right. Okay? I liken this to a scenario where, I might have 10 locks on my front door. I've got my Ring doorbell. I can see who's knocking on the door, but I never chase them off the porch. Right? So I've got a bad guy who's knocking on my door, and I never get rid of them. And that's the shield right issue, right? So are you just going to let those attacks